You've made mention to other things that you're interested in. I guess what I want to ask you is, are there any of these, what I'm going to call passion projects that you have going? You're very entrepreneurial. Are there any of these passion projects that you want to share any of the details about?
I'm always very visual. I should have been an artist. And so I do a lot of photography. I've always done photography. And one of the things that I'm gifted at is, I think, articulating what I do, or I'm just able to explain things in very direct terms. And so I put together, and again, this is just to see where it goes. Like what's this website, learnphotocomposition.com. And I record videos about how I make my photos. And it's all about composition, and I'm able to capture things that I don't know. Like there's tons of videos on composition, but it's always very ambiguous, and to me, it's very clear. And so I just talk about the photos and the decisions I make, and so we'll see where that goes.
I've seen some of those videos. They're great.
Oh, there you go. See, and this one is free. Like I'm just doing it for fun to change things up. I feel like, when it's good in life to kind of give your brain a different activity to do, a new perspective. So one other thing too that I'm kicking around is putting together a class on how to dress for men. Every day you wake up and you ask yourself, what should I wear? So this came about through, I got divorced, I don't know, in 13. And I was married for 16 years, and I wanted to for some crazy reason, get into another relationship, right? You have to get out there, and I'm looking at my clothes, and it's like I was out of the game, right, for so long. So I had to reinvent myself. So I was good. I always thought I kind of had a sense of style and taste, but I knew that I was missing things. So I hired a fashion consultant, and this person came in and promptly discarded about 80-90% of my clothes because they were like out of date, they didn't fit me properly, like stuff that I lost track of when I was married, right? So I started from scratch, and I basically figured out for myself how I should dress, and this is specifically about dating, relationships, how to present yourself, because you when you're single, you never know what opportunity is going to come up. There's a very specific method I came up with, and I find people today actually it's like a lost art, how to present ourselves. And especially after COVID, is not only is that art lost, it was buried, and we lost the map.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. So it's just kind of fun. I almost taught myself how to do this. I put together this great wardrobe. And so this will be a class that I'm putting together. And then the other thing too is, again, these are all like YouTube. I feel like, I don't know, this stage of my life, I'm about like YouTube and like talking to people about things, I guess, sharing my knowledge.
Teaching and giving back.
Yeah. I find like I'm going to start the Paxson School of Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And the first thing is like, forget everything you learned in school because it's useless. I think school is, when you go to school, college and high school, you couldn't design a worse system for learning how to think and be successful in life. Because you don't have to be smart to be successful. It's an act of your will, right? And school teaches you have to be smart. And it's really just about memorization, which is totally useless. And knowledge used to be valuable, right? Back in the day when the colleges were founded, they have this knowledge and they would transfer it to you. Well, now knowledge is literally dirt cheap.
Right.
It's cheaper than dirt. I bought a bag of dirt the other day and it was cheap.
Talking about what's available free on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, basically. And there's so much just simple things that if you learn to look at life in a different way, you'll be much better prepared to be successful. So I'm putting together that, and I think I've proven it out in my life and what I've done and accomplished.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of time.
Paxton, I want to say thanks so much for being here today and having a conversation. I think there's a lot of really interesting things that we talked about that are going to be incredibly helpful to anyone that's looking to take a journey into the app space, to find success like the success that you found. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
And I think if I was to try and think back to all that you shared, I think some things that really, really, really resonated with me are to not chase dollars, make sure you sort of have a vision and stay true to the vision. I think also you talked about how, like, if you're going to go into the app space, you probably want to have some development skills or some marketing and advertising skills or some of both. I think, or just simply have tens of millions of dollars.
If you have tens of millions of dollars, then I want to talk to you. believe me, we can make it work somehow, just so you know.
And you also talked about how ideas, and this is so true, ideas are sort of a dime a dozen, but you got to implement it well. You got to figure out how to market it. You got to figure out how to make it world class. And then if you don't have SEO, you probably can't afford to be in the app space, is sort of the message that I keep hearing.
Yeah, that was my experience, at least. That's what I kind of could look back in the rearview mirror. And I didn't know any of this going into it. Like, don't think you need to have everything figured out. Just don't be stupid, right? Like, a lot of this is common sense.
Right.
I went to school for architecture, right? And I did that for 6 months and I thought, this is boring. And so don't be afraid to make mistakes and do what's in your heart to do.
Love it. And I think our conversation here today was kind of a lot of just the truth of the grind that you need to get through, right? And the will that you need. But it's also, I think, kind of encouraging that if you've got the will and you've got the stamina and you can persevere, like, you can do this.
Yeah, I
The
think
information's out there. You can do it. You just got to be committed, right? I mean, that's, I think,
Yeah.
one of the positive messages that I'm hearing here today.
and I would say that everybody, to me, everybody has something they should contribute to this world. They see everybody, we're as unique as our fingerprints. I mean, look at the personalities. Have you ever met the same personality? Everybody sees the world differently, and everybody has a different sphere of influence, and they have different interests. And when you come across something that's not right, like, it's your job to make it right and produce something good and offer it to the world. And that might include monetization, it might not. And there's incredible satisfaction and joy in doing that.
Yeah.
And if you're all about the money, it just, to me, it's pretty empty. Like, that's not fun. That turns into a grind. But if you could kind of go beyond that, like, you need money, but the primary energy should be in really making a great product, and at least you'll be satisfied in that.
Love it. And I think that is the gem that we should close on. This was really fun. Thanks for being here, Paxton.
Thanks, Matt.